Okay, everybody, it's time for part 3 of the custom management agreement series that we've had going. This is the final part of this course. We'll, of course, still have new videos coming, but this will be the last one for the custom management agreement. If you're interested in seeing the entire course, that's on our website at propertymanagerassist.com. This is just a quick few provisions that we're going to go over that you might not have thought of previously, but the full course goes over the entire management agreement. You can get that as part of our PM Assist Insider, which is just a $99 a month subscription. But if you just want a little taste, this will give you that. So first, let's talk about insurance. So this provision of your management agreement is going to require that the owner name you as not just as an additional interest, but as additional insured on their homeowner's insurance policy. It's an extremely important difference. If you're just named as additional interest, which is what most insurance companies will do if the owner doesn't push it with them, is the only thing you're going to get there is notice of anything on that policy. So if the policy renews, you'll get an updated certificate. If they miss a renewal payment, you'll get notified of that. But you have no actual coverage under that insurance policy. And usually that means your E&O insurance isn't going to cover you because you didn't do your part in getting the owner to insure you like they were supposed to. So this provision in the management agreement says you have to be named as additional insured, not just additional interest. That's going to make sure you're covered. We just want to provide a short period of time for the owner to get this done. So you'll see here we've only given 7 days after the management agreement is signed. We send them a reminder saying, hey, we've got the management agreement signed, we need the insurance now. Give them that 7-day notice. If they don't do it by then, we charge a fee. So if you want to find out more about that, take our fee maxing course over at the same website, propertymanagerassist.com. We'll go into the details on that. But we require that every owner do this or they get charged extra if they don't. We also, in this provision, make it the owner's responsibility to report any hazardous conditions at the property. So it's not up to us to discover them or to inspect and find that. It's the owner's responsibility to let us know about that when we sign the management agreement. Next, we want to talk about the right to enter the property and contact the tenant. So this provision here is dealing specifically with the owner not being allowed to do this. So a separate provision of the PMA deals with your right to access the property. This is prohibiting the owner from doing that while a tenant is in place. When we're managing the property, we don't want the owner to be going out and visiting the property themselves. We don't want them contacting the tenant and trying to negotiate settlements with the tenant, waive lease provisions, anything like that. Any sort of discussion regarding that property needs to happen with you as the broker. So this provision makes that clear. Owners not to go out. We want all of that to go through us. And then this provision here deals with credit reports. So it's a common point of discussion on Facebook groups, listservs for NARPM, all of that kind of stuff. People are always asking, I've got an owner who wants me to provide a credit report to them that we got from a tenant applicant or from a new tenant who just moved in. Am I allowed to do that? Can I tell the owner no? Clearly, this is a bad idea. So we don't want to be giving confidential credit reporting information to owners. The application also has the tenant's contact information, has their family information, even in many cases has what kind of car they drive, what their license plate number is. There's all kinds of personal information we get on a tenant application and a credit report that there's absolutely no reason for the property owner to have this. And giving it to them opens you up to more liability. Because now, let's say that there was an identity theft problem that the tenant had. Now, your insurance might cover you if you have identity theft protection. But now the owner, he got a copy of this report. The tenant can claim that the owner stole their identity or that they didn't handle the information properly. They were, loose with it. It got out to somebody else, and somebody else stole their identity because you gave it to the owner. Well, your insurance isn't going to cover you for that because you shouldn't have given that to the owner in the first place. So this makes it very clear in your contract. The tenant's application and their credit report are confidential information that we do not share. So, you don't want to get into the details of what the Fair Credit Reporting Act says and what your contract with the credit reporting agencies are. Don't get into all that. That takes you down a rabbit hole. You're much better off just having the provision in your management agreement that clearly prohibits this and says all that stuff that's handled by us, it doesn't go to the owner. Last provision we'll talk about here is consistent policies. So this is just a blanket provision in your management agreement that says, we can't cover everything in this PMA, but we have standard policies and procedures that we use to manage your property. We have to be consistent with them across the board. We can't treat one tenant differently than another. We have to be able to run our business according to standard procedures. So you, Mr. or Mrs. Owner, you're agreeing to let us do that and to not expect us to waive those and to do it a different way. So, we don't want individual owners saying what they want us to do with their property. We want every property to be treated the same. So this is the provision that says we're going to follow standard procedures and not deviate from that. So that's today's lesson. Again, if you want to see all of the details on the entire management agreement, including getting an editable copy of the contract, you can get that at propertymanagerassist.com. Our next lesson here in about a couple weeks, we'll be talking about automating your inspection process. So we'll talk about different inspection software, and we'll also talk about how you can link this up to Lead Simple or another process automation system and track your processes and automate as much of it as possible. So that'll be our next lesson. I hope everybody found this useful.